Okay, algebra students, we're back for the last video of the day. I hope, well, in math at least. I can't tell you about the other classes. Okay, so here we go. A student's height is measured as 66 inches to the nearest inch. What are the student's minimum and maximum possible heights? Well, that creates a really interesting question. Okay, so to the nearest possible inch. Now, if you think of it, you have a ruler, and let's say we get to 66. Now we have to round, right? Now, in between 67 and 66 and 65 and 66, somewhere in between. So that means we could get, if I pick something right here, really close, and you say, well, round it to the nearest inch. Well, the nearest inch, what's the nearest inch? Literally what it says, 66. Now, at what point do you make it 67? Well, you can keep going up and up and up and up and up, and you get to this point, 6.5. 6.5. If I see something as 66.5, I can round that up to 67. So if someone was 66.5 inches, and we round it to the nearest inch, we could say that person is 67 inches. But if it's, let's say this is 66.1, you can't really say it's 67 inches. He's much closer to 66 than he is to 67. That dividing line is right here in the middle, between the two, at 66.5. So anything lower, okay, let's say 66.4, is the most you could potentially be off and still be 66. So you can come all the way right about to here, and you're still closer to 66 than 67. But once you get here, you're closer to 67. Same thing over here. There's a halfway mark, and we call that halfway mark 66.5. Oh, excuse me, 65.5, because we're measuring from here. When I get to this point, 66.5, I can just round up because of that 5. That 5 tells me I can round up. But if I go here, or anywhere between here and here, I'm closer to 65. So 65.4, 65.3, 65.2, or 65.1, if I had to round it off, I would round it off to 65. But at this point, and up, I can't do that. So that gives me a window that I can be wrong. If I say someone, I'm doing a bad color for this, let's do orange. If I say someone is 66 inches, and I'm rounding, that means they could be anywhere from 66.4 inches tall, and they could be anywhere to as short as 65.5 inches tall. Either way, if I say this, if someone is 66.4 inches tall, I could say this person is 66 inches tall. I could say this person is 66 inches tall if I round. Now that creates a little bit of an issue, because if you look at these two people, let's say I had these two people standing next to each other. This is, look how much of this is almost a full inch. So look, I'm going to subtract the two of them. 66.4 minus 65.5 is 0.9. So it's a full inch. So it's really interesting because you think about accuracy. Think about if I said, oh, someone is 5'5" or 5'6" or 5'7", no, 5'6", You think, well, someone's noticeably taller. Not usually. Not that if you looked at them real quick you would notice, but they are. If you measured them, they probably be different. But they could be here. It's almost the same distance between those two people. So both of these people might be listed, if I rounded, as 5'6" tall. And really, they are almost an inch difference. So the maximum height, the maximum this person can be, and you call him 5'6", would be 66.4. So this is the maximum. But the minimum is 65.5. That's why sometimes, if you pay attention, you'll hear athletes that they'll say something like, "Oh, he's 6'3" and 3/4," because they want to almost get into that other inch. Oh, 6'3" and 3/4. So he's almost 6'4", so they'll give him that little bit of extra, 6'2" and a half. Oh, so he's almost 6'3", instead of 6'2". It seems to make a difference. All right, guys, have a great one, and I will talk to you later. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Well, enjoy your weekend.